Hey everybody, welcome to this amazing Tantra event today with the Eden Room. I'm Cat Diva, and I'm really, really excited to be introducing you to two very, very special ladies who are not only leaders in the Tantra field globally, but they are in the UK known for being the founders. Hilly is the founder of Shakti Tantra, which is a Tantra school in the UK. It's been going over 30 years now, and it was the first, and I think only, female-founded Tantra school. Is that right? Have I got that right?
Well, it was. I haven't looked around recently, but we certainly were.
So we're very lucky to have them with us. And then Becky is, you'll find some of Becky's stuff on the Eden Room actually coming for you. And Becky is she has a website called Conscious Bliss. So Hilly's over at Shakti Tantra. She works with Becky, who also has her own practice, working especially with men. And they're both going to share with us today some of their secrets, some of their wisdom, some of the insights around how we may have been limited in how we think about love and sex and relationships. And I really hope you're going to enjoy it. I'm not going to be taking the mic because I'd much rather pass it over to these two very incredible women. So I'm here if you have questions in the chat. If you're watching this on the recording, do feel free to ping any questions you've got and check out their work in future. But let's get over to Hilly now. And Hilly, what I would love is if you could just start by filling us in a little bit more on you and what brought you to Tantra, and what you feel like is most important to share at this particular time on the planet, with everything going on right now, with people feeling more probably isolated than they ever have before. I know that's a big one, isn't it?
It's a really big one. I mean, what brought me to Tantra? I came into Tantra backwards, actually. I didn't want anything to do with it, really, because I'd heard, I was brought up in the 60s. I wasn't brought up in the 60s at all, but I was around in the 60s, and Tantra was something that was sort of bandied about, and it appeared to me to be something really sleazy and just something really sleazy and sexual, and I didn't like the sound of it at all. So I didn't but that's when I first heard about it. I heard about it in the sleazy way. I heard about it in the artistic way, and those two things I couldn't actually bring together, art and sleaziness. So I didn't think anything more of it until probably about the 90s, late 80s, 90s, when I was invited to a workshop. I didn't want to go to that workshop. I did reasons. It's offered to me very cheap. I was asked 3 times, and 3 times is a little secret God and I have together. Somebody asked me 3 times, I'll do it. So I did it. And I found in that first workshop that it was something that was not going to be easy for me, but it was definitely going to be the thing that I was going to be doing. I had a couple of past life experiences in there. I felt a freedom in there, briefly, a freedom that I wanted. What I saw in that workshop was all the sort of chains and the concepts that hold me and kept me small. So that's why I joined. That's why I continued, and it's kept me here. And why at this time? I've been thinking about this, actually. I've been thinking about this since yesterday, and what I feel is, if people talk about Tantra and think about Tantra, they think about it in all sorts of different ways, but actually what it is a transformational path, and it's a journey to take you right inside yourself, to find your own authority, to come from your heart, because at this moment there is no help, right? Outside there's no help. You've got this idea and you've got that idea, this idea, that idea. So every time you think that you know what's going on, there'll be something that tells you it's not that. So at this time, and it's been prophesized, and all the inspirational teachers will say the same thing. At this time, as we move from one age to the next, it's about finding our finding our own authority. And Tantra, although it seems, whatever people think about it, it is a doorway. You walk through that doorway and it transforms all the stuff in there that actually keeps you separate from who you actually are. How about that?
That's brilliant. Yeah, I'm in.
You need to walk, the hardest thing is to walk through that.
Yeah, to walk through the
If you
door.
walk through the doorway of Tantra, there's a world. There's a world. Yeah.
But if people are watching this and they're curious and they're, you know, dipping their toe in today, they're probably, you know, knocking on that door. They're hearing a call to go through that door. Becky, what brought you to Tantra, and why do you feel like it's important right now?
I was saying, no, I kind of fell through the doors of Tantra. I also tried not to come. I was probably, yeah, I sort of think that I was a kind of bit of a typical story, really. I was in a relationship and basically sex wasn't working. That was all that I knew. And what was happening was that as I was having sex, essentially I just wanted to burst into tears, which was not doing any favors for my relationship. It was just a disaster. And I ended up at a party one night talking to a friend who had done another Tantra workshop, but had heard about Hilly and Sue Newsom, who set up Shiatsu Tantra, and said they're running this women's program and I'm going to go along. Do you want to come with me? And I just said, it just sounded too weird to me. So I was like, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Because I was at my wit's end. I didn't really know what to do. And then she emailed me. This is back in 2003. She emailed me and said, come on, we need to pay deposits if we're going to go. Are you up for it? And I didn't reply. So then like a week later, she sent an email saying, okay, I paid £100 deposit for both of us. And it was only about 30 miles from my home. So I thought, I'm going to have to go. And what I found there was, a lot of things. It was the journey to coming to know myself, which was really hard, which was really, really hard, which was, I think for all of us, we can spend a lot of our lives going through our lives trying to be the people that we think we should be. I definitely have that, you know, just really trying to do my best to be the right sort of person. And Tantra took me to a place where I started to learn to accept who I was and to give that person some space, and to give that person some space very much in my body, which was enormous, really. So, and I feel like it's an ongoing adventure. It's an ongoing journey, and I think it's really important at this time. Yeah, I think, you know, particularly as Hilly's talking, there's huge shifts happening in our planet, and we do need to stay really centered, and we need to know who we are. We really need to know who we are, and we really need to, rather than staying true to what we think is important in our minds, is actually really deeply listening to ourselves, and exploring and noticing what is really important to us.
So we've got people who'll be watching this who will be single at the moment. We've got people that will be in relationships, couples, in partnerships, and probably feeling the strains of this time on their relationship. I mean, for some couples, I think obviously it's brought people closer together, but it's also not been an easy time for relationships. And then, you know, it's Valentine's weekend, love is in the air and all of that, but there's nowhere to go. People can't do their normal date night or movie or whatever. And everyone's probably seen enough Netflix to kind of last a lifetime at this point, in the UK, certainly, with months of lockdown. So this is an opportunity, right? Like, this is an opening, a pattern interrupt to maybe explore this inner world that you're talking about, this connection with yourself, you know, this connection with the other in a new way. But if people are just coming to this for the first time and they're just curious and toe dipping and things, how do they break that pattern? How do they go from, you know, feeling maybe like a low level unease or annoyance with the partner for not taking out the bin or making the bed or doing the laundry or whatever, you know, the domesticness of life? It's not that sexy, is it? So, and if they've got kids around, and if it's, you know, work stress, maybe money strains, how do people, well, how would you recommend some tools and tips and secrets for them to begin to step into this world, to begin to walk through this door? Like, could they do that this weekend? Do they need to do a course first? Like, how can they enter that at the moment?
You want to go, Hilly?
First thing is they've got to want to. You know, nobody can force anyone to do. You know, the worst thing that happens within the Tantra arena is one partner will try and force the other. It does not work, never works. So they have to sit down, have a conversation. Do they want to step into this world? You know, and if they, and we're talking, you know, it might seem just a real simple little thing that's going on here, or a sleazy little thing, or a sexy little thing, you know, but actually it's quite a powerful and strong energy that they're creating here. So the first thing they need to do is to say, well, do you want to do this? Do you want to, shall we drop all that? Shall we drop everything? Can we drop everything? Can we move out of the drama? Can we actually go, okay, I'm going to stop the drama, because, you know, we have drama inside and we have drama outside this drama, you know, we're in drama city here, you know, we truly are. So can we stop it? Can we stop it? Okay, and if the agreement is yes, let's go for this. So I mean, Becky, I'm gonna, you know, we can do this together. So the first thing that they would need to do after the agreement, yes, I want to do this. So after that, there would be, how do they move from this particular frame of mind, working, not working, on the sofa, not on a, whatever they're doing in their life up to this point, they need to shake that off. They need to actually say, okay, I want to move into something different. This is Valentine's Day, Valentine's weekend. Let's try and create some love here. So I want to shake off everything that I'm carrying. Do you want to talk about that one bit, Becky?
Yeah. I mean, we actually have a practice that we teach, which is literally shaking, to literally shake everything out of the body. But you can do it in other ways. And I know people who will do things. So we're talking about, you know, say you've been working or you've been doing the chores of your Sunday morning, or your head's full of dealing with your finances, or, you know, all of that kind of stuff, to let go of that before you can come together in a more honest place, not carrying that. You might break the pattern by, you know, and it's whatever is your thing, whatever appeals to you really, is doing something like, you know, stick on some loud music and just have a really good dance and a really good sing. For other people, it'll be like, get out and go for a jog, go for a run, do some exercise. But it's good to do really physical things, physically vigorous things, because that, you know, I mean, we all know that situation, or most people will know that situation. You're in a real slump, and then you go and do exercise, and actually your body just automatically feels better. You feel refreshed. So it's to do something like that first.
Yeah, sorry. No. I was going to say, you need to bear in mind your intent. Your intent is to actually, intent's a really powerful thing. So your intent is to actually just get rid of everything that you've been carrying. And you know, and we're moving into a place of love, and love is the, my dog's just going to start squeaking something.
That's all right, we don't mind, we can listen to the dog. So number one, to enter this Valentine's weekend or any time where you want to connect more deeply, more intimately with yourself, with your partner, have an intention that you're going to do an activity now. If it's 5 minutes listening to a song, or it's 30 minutes out for a walk or going for a jog, that activity is going to help you just let go and shake off all the stuff, all the thoughts, or the worries, or the stress, or the jobs you need to do, and the to-do list and everything else. It's just like
and I think, Kat, you might actually do different things as well. You might do the same things, and you might do different things, but do something, kind of agree a start time, but before that, do something that gets you out of, just out of the everyday.
Yeah, because, you know, we're moving to the place of love, hopefully. It's the antidote to fear. We've been filled with a lot of fear. So we need to change that into the love. So the intent is always important. I just want to really emphasize this, you know, the intent is just let go of that. Just let go. Okay.
And should they say that intent out loud, just inwardly? It's like, I'm letting go of fear and moving into love now.
They could, if that works for them. Yeah. You know, they could even write that down. This is, you know, even journal with this, whatever people do, but just to be aware that's what you're doing.
Okay, so step one is shake it off, basically. Play that loud track, do the activity, something that's going to transition your state into this new intention, this new consciousness for the weekend or Valentine's Day or whatever, that evening. Now what? So we've done that, shaking it all off.
Becky?
What next?
We were talking yesterday, a lovely way to start a, you know, we talk about these ideas of being in ritual. So having like, this is a definite time that we're going to be together and come together, and we're going to turn our phones off, and we're not going to get, you know, as much as we can, we're not going to get distracted. And I know we'll probably come back and talk about if you've got kids with you and things towards the end, but if you can, get rid of distractions. And we talked yesterday about being with water, starting this ritual with water. So whether that's taking a bath, taking a bath together, showering.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can you just explain? I just want to say for people, you know, like ritual. Some people won't know what ritual is. A lot of people will, but ritual gives something meaning. It gives it more meaning, so it's not just every day. Okay.
Yeah, so you were saying, Hilly, yesterday about if you're going to do the bath, put rose petals in the bath, tidy the bathroom, but do the tidying in a meditative way. Do you want to say a little bit about that, about setting up that sacred space?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Becky, but I know some people don't understand what ritual is, and it's like Christmas, you know. It's like a lot of people want to get rid of Christmas, but actually the Christmas is a ritual. You know, it gives that day meaning, whatever meaning you want to put in that. So now we're going into ritual. We've shaken everything off. We're going into ritual. So you might, I don't know which order you're going to do this in, but you want to prepare your bathroom, your shower room, by, you know, bringing nice candles, maybe scented candles, maybe incense, so nice smells, nice light, music, if you can get music in there, some really, you know, we give you a suggestion of music to have in there, really lovely music. And rose petals in the bath is just a lovely thing to do. You can pick them up from the supermarket, loads of roses in the supermarket, I've noticed. So you're preparing this really beautiful space for, you know, ritualistic space, a space that's going to have meaning for you either on your own or for you with your beloved. And bearing in mind, if you're, well, with yourself or with your beloved, just don't allow any of those negative thoughts to come in. Just say, okay, I know you, you know, just going to pop you here for a minute. Thank you for looking after me. But actually, I just want to pop you here a minute. whilst I move into my ritual. Okay.
Right, because those little negative thoughts are going to come up. It's going to be like, oh, this is a bit silly, or is this going to work, or actually he really annoyed me this week because such and such a thing. Like, you're going to have those little gremlins trying to stop you at this point because you're not quite in that ritual space yet. And is that the point of creating the ritual, that it gives you like a container where you are a bit more outside of your everyday consciousness?
And you're also, because you've moved into ritual, I was brought up with God, if you like. God was my friend. A lot of people don't use the word God, but I do. But when you move into that ritualistic space, you're actually moving, you're holding the hand of your divinity, whatever that is for you, or even if you don't believe in anything like that, it's taking you into a different space. And when you're in that different space, much aware, you have separation from what we call the demons. So they're the voices that say, oh, this is really stupid, and he or she did that, and I'm going to talk about that now. Just try. Tantra is a discipline. It's a spiritual discipline, but it uses the art of pleasure. And it's about the only spiritual discipline that uses the whole body, uses sexuality. So, go on, Becky.
No, that was so good. That was really important, because I can imagine that there's going to be a lot of people with those demons going on and not realizing that's part of the process, but to just ignore it. Give it a cup of tea and a newspaper and say, I'll see you after the Valentine's weekend. Like, that's right. Yeah,
because we all know those voices. We know them so well. We know that voice that says, oh, this is really stupid, or you're fat and stupid, or like he doesn't really want to do that, or she doesn't really. We know those voices so well, and just say, thank you. You've looked after me so well, but go over there.
Yeah. Thanks for your contribution, but not
Thank
today.
you very much.
Great. I love that. It's so important.
You've brought in there, Hilly, a lot of those voices so often, and I know this as a married woman, I know this really well, is that it's highly likely those voices will tell you that your partner is not doing this right. Absolutely. You're all now in the spiritual space, but they're not. They're doing it wrong.
They're doing it wrong.
Putting that to one side and bringing kindness and compassion to be about both of you having time and space to learn to come into this way of being.
Yeah, kindness is the one. There's bringing kindness in, because at this time there's tremendous kindness, but also there's tremendous not kindness around as well. So being aware of the kindness, okay.
And not getting too rigid about the rules of the ritual.
I'm Aquarian, I'm very rigid. You've got to do it like this. I know how
I wanted the pink candles, not the white candles.
Yeah,
okay, that's really helpful. And we want your playlist. I'm going to tap you up for your sensual music playlist afterwards, so that people can download that maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, Becky, go on. So we've got the demons outside the door. We've got the rose petals. We've got the smells, the candles. We've got the people, the wonderful divine beings, the beloved.
If it's just a solo person, it's them and the divine, right? They're having their ritual for them and their lover of the universal energy, or whatever you want to call that.
Yeah.
How do you call that? The divine? God.
I would call it the divine. Basically the journey of Tantra anyway, whether you're in relationship, we're always in relationship, aren't we? But whether you're living with someone or some people, but it's always about yourself. Tantra is the journey of yourself. So in a way, to be with yourself and do this is amazing. It's amazing. It's really amazing. Easier sometimes.
Easier.
Yeah.
Right, I love it. Okay, so we've done first step, have a shake off. Second step, create that ritual space. Yeah, love it. Okay.
Because it can be a shower, it doesn't have to be a bath, don't forget. You could put the rose petals on the shower.
I love essential oils in the shower and steam.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you could shower with your partner, you were saying as well. Which
Absolutely. I mean, how lovely to sorry, Becky, I keep inviting you in.
Great, it's really fine.
You can actually have some really lovely, you can massage and wash your beloved. Sorry, go on. I'm going to be quiet.
No, go on. You talk about that and I'll come into the next bit.
Okay. So we're in the shower. You're in the shower. You've got some beautiful spread, and even if you can't get this stuff because we're quite late in the day and apparently there's not many shops open out there. I live at the end of England, so I don't know about such things. But some really beautiful smelling if you can. And if you can't, it doesn't matter either. But it's just massaging and everything's slow. In Tantra, basically in Tantra, what we say is that slower and the finer, the more experience. So, not this sort of really busy washing, scrubbing everything, but really slow and sensual. This is the body of the god. This is the body of the goddess, and actually as you wash them, caress them, you're welcoming each part of their body, you're awakening it into, inviting it into the divine, and it's a beautiful thing to do. Beautiful thing to do. Don't feel silly. Put the silly demon outside the door as well. And just breathe. I mean, breathing is great. If you're getting a little bit of panic in your head, just taking a breath, breathe right down into your body. Expand your belly, your ribs and your lungs. Let your shoulders drop, because often we're like this. Let your shoulders drop. Loosen the jaw. Just breathe. Just slow it down. Slow it.
I'm right there. I'm in.
Are you there?
The shower.
Are you with us? We're all there.
Great. I love it. I was thinking when you were talking, Hilly, about the last lockdown, I got obsessed with using my coffee grounds after my morning coffee in the shower, and I would take them in with a bowl of olive oil and sugar. And put them into my thighs.
Wow.
It smells amazing, but it makes your skin super soft, and it like totally got rid of my cellulite, everything. I was thinking when you were talking, I bet the stuff in the kitchen, if people can't get to the shop, I bet sugar and oil and essential oils, or whatever they've got, really, they could bring it into the shower.
And of course, salt and olive oil, it's really good for cleansing your skin. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things, and I think at this time it's really good to be able to use these different things. I think it's brilliant. Yes, they're great. So I'm going to do the coffee ground thing.
Oh, good. I hope you like it. Let me know.
What is it? Coffee and sugar and olive oil?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
Kind of equal parts. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I can highly recommend it.
Can you?
It's really good. I took that tip, Kat. I used it. I love it.
You used my tip. It's like my best lockdown tip, that one. And it smells so good, doesn't it?
It's beautiful. On your skin is like soft for a couple of days afterwards, isn't it? It's really amazing.
I didn't know about this. You didn't tell me this, Becky. Here I am getting really old and you didn't tell me any tips.
This is what we do in our coaching programs. We just scrub our bodies with stuff from the kitchen, the witching kitchen. Okay, step 3.
So I've done the showering bit, and of course,
you've done the showering.
We've got to dry. Sorry, I'm doing it again. After the showering bit, really warm the towels, nice warm towels, and dry. Over to you.
That's what I was going to say. Actually, was getting out of the bath, and that same touch, taking the time actually to dry. There's something really profound about somebody taking care of your body. Whether you're doing it to yourself or your beloved is doing it, but actually just taking care, being with the detail, rather than just the quick rub the towel, you'll be dry in a minute, but actually just taking that time of caring.
That in those ancient cultures, like when you go to Morocco, they like, you feel like a baby, and they get every crevice, don't they? And those Turkish and ancient cultures, it's like they've still preserved that, but our culture is like, half the time it's just a chore getting dry and getting dressed, isn't it? So I love this.
And I mean, one of the most amazing things that can happen to you, or to me, was when we did a death ritual. I don't know if you remember this, Becky.
Oh, amazing.
And they brought you back from this death ritual by actually washing your feet. And one of the most amazing things, and that's something people can do as well, just gently wash your feet. It's so intimate and it's so touching, actually. Go on.
Incredible. And grounding. Yeah. It brings you in. So after the bath, the next stage, if you like, and these are all invitations and ideas to offer, and the order that we're doing them in is an order we know, it's like you'll be softening into this process. So the more we do that, the more we can open our bodies into the present moment, into aliveness, actually, because we're relaxing and letting go of that tension. But then we suggested having a blindfold and taking it in turns to blindfold one another and offer one another food. It can be incredibly good fun, and you can really play with this in a very sensual way. So things like, strawberries, it's not quite strawberry time of year, but any soft fruits or chocolate obviously is beautiful. But any food actually that your beloved likes, with yourself, obviously food you like. And just taking time, rather than just feeding it to them, is taking time to let the smell of that food be under their nose. Let the sense of it just brush against the lips. And yeah, just really letting them take time in the taste and in, it's just incredibly sexy. It can be phenomenally sexy and very simple.
Yeah, and it's also really interesting because you don't know because we judge so much with our eyes, and you don't know what it is that it's great. Different textures, it's great.
And it can be really playful as well. It can be very humorous.
Yeah.
You have a lot of fun with the play of that. And then
and if you're on your own, Becky, I guess you could have a bowl of fruit and chocolate or whatever, and actually blindfold and just feeling. I know that Osho, he was a Tantra teacher. He always said that we separate our food by the fork or the knife. We don't actually, we're missing out a lot with our food because we don't touch it and we don't feel the texture. And so for yourself, you've just had a real bowl of stuff, blindfold, and just feeling it. And really, really, again, it's the slowing down. Yeah, feeling it, tasting it, smelling it, whole different experience going on.
Well, it brings in that principle or that process that happens when we are slower with something. It allows our desires to come up. It gives them time and space for us to actually feel them, because we can get so obsessed, can't we, with meeting our desires. We just want them to be met. But actually that place of longing for, of feeling for, of being drawn towards something is incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful to give space for all of that. And of course,
as you're speaking, Becky, I'm realizing that obviously this is why this is happening to the world, because we've just gone off on some bloody tangent here, which is not serving us, not serving the earth, and it's about turning, everything's crumbling, about coming back to, that's why Tantra is so important, coming back to this place. Yeah. Anyway, great.
And then we would invite you to come back into a place of touching one another again, as you did in the bath or the shower. But with this, taking time where one is receiving the touch and one is giving the touch. And the reason that we say this is because we can get so busy. You know, we've just been talking about the slowing down, and another place where we get busy is somebody does like a little bit of something nice to us, and immediately we feel like we've got to do a little bit of something nice to them, and then we stay really busy in our heads. You know, it just brings us back up into our heads. And so in this, actually having, you know, at least 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes is wonderful, of just laying and receiving the touch of the other. And for the person giving the touch is just to, the invitation in this instance is to just touch the whole of the body in a loving way, in a way that feels loving to you, and being present with the body. I would probably suggest, you know, we often talk about not ignoring the genitals, but also not focusing on them, on the sexy bits, because that's something, again, that we do, you know, we've got to do and make something happen, but actually just to be with the body of our beloved, and just to be touching it with kind of gentle squeezes or strokes, just, you know, palms. Using the palm of the hand is really beautiful, just really acknowledging touch. And at some point you'll probably feel like, oh, well, I've touched them all over now, I'm really bored, I need to, you know, we need to do something else now. And just to invite yourself, you know, Hilly spoke about breathing earlier, just to breathe and to drop more deeply, give the opportunity for something else to come, which is usually just past that bit of boredom. There you go. Yeah. Busy mind, let's do.
But that's an interesting thing to be reminded of, right? Like the same way the gremlins came up at that threshold, is it that there's a threshold place of annoyance or frustration, and then if you can just breathe with that, you sort of drop into deeper intimacy or deeper connection past that road bump sort of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the held energy, isn't it? It's the tense held energy. Sorry, Hilly. Go on.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Because I was going to say, with this touch, what you're saying to your beloved is you are in safe hands. This is your body, and you are in safe hands. And the gremlins, or the demons, as we call it, up will be there in force now, because, you know, for a lot of people, they can't receive without giving. So it'll be all that can't receiving going on. You know, you can't receive, you've got to do something, sort of thing. But as Becky says, just breathe into that. And for the person giving, you know, their anxiety will be around, am I doing it right? Is this right? But, you know, so you have to be mindful that those demons are around, and just keep stepping through. And I know also, you know, what at this time, with all this stuff going on, the way that we can get into our center is just by feeling, you know, allowing all that stuff, like the demons, if you like, and just feeling that. Don't react. Don't react. Don't react. So, you know, you're in a tantric ritual, don't react. It's powerful. And also it would be great to be, the person that's receiving could be blindfold. Did we say that? We didn't say that, did we? So the person that's receiving could be blindfold. And it becomes like a meditation. So the giver and the receiver, you know, if you keep moving through all this irritation and whatever else is there, it might not be, you come to a place where you meet. Come to a place where the giver and the receiver becomes one. And that is spectacularly beautiful.
Yeah, I was feeling that even just being in your presence, you know, when I've been to Cornwall and stuff, it, you know, it's sort of dropping into timelessness and that space beyond thought and linear action and time as we know it in our day-to-day world. I can almost feel it now, even in our space. It's like time's just disappeared. I would just be here all day, just feeling and exchanging.
Yeah.
The other just to bring in the other, you're quite right, Kat, and the other thing that can happen alongside the irritation is that we just fall asleep. Because we go from being stressed to being asleep. And what we're inviting is this place of being very conscious, being more relaxed, more open. And being awake.
And also, if you fall asleep, that's cool, that's fine. I know with my teacher back in the 70s, one of his helpers used to give what the truth. He used to sit outside the tents. Everyone was sleeping through the night. We used to have massive, great tents with thousands of us. And somebody asked him once, you know, it's like Guru Charanam, why are you just sitting outside the tents? And he said, when they're asleep, they have no defense. They can hear and they can feel. So if people go to sleep and you're still doing this, you're actually imprinting stuff into the body that the mind is out the way. So it works. Yeah.
So continue. If you're that person delivering it, don't stop when they fall asleep. Keep going.
Just keep going. Don't just poke them and say, wake up.
It's Valentine's. Wake up.
Wake up. You're asleep and I'm trying to give you something.
But then you just trust that it's all perfect? And then if they've fallen asleep, do you just allow them to then sleep and just pick it up another time, just leave it?
Yeah, you could just have a little snooze beside them. Maybe you're going to sleep for the night. Maybe that's beautiful. Or maybe they're just going to drop off and come back. I don't know. It's an alive thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Becky, so you're doing first one, then the other. And of course, if one of them, if you fall asleep and that's it for the night, pick up the next day for the other or something. Yeah. So then what, Becky? So we've got
in the morning. We were actually going to. Our suggestion was that to finish, you've done one and then the other, and actually just finish by laying together, and
sort of spooning type thing if they want.
Do the spooning, yeah, absolutely. I think, although I would say actually maybe facing each other to start with, and just to spend a little bit of time just talking about what you noticed, and
hand on heart sort of thing as well.
We can do that, absolutely.
So you're touching the other one's heart. So it's just lying, looking at each other, just be aware of that person's heart. You know, you've got that person's precious heart in your hands.
Just spend time sharing about what that was like. One of the questions that we always invite people to ask of themselves is to say what they noticed about themselves. You know, which might be, I felt really irritated a lot of the time. Yeah. Today that felt really beautiful, and to speak that out loud and to anchor it. And there's no right or wrong in it, because it's where you are today. It's how it is today.
Yeah, and often it's people go, oh, I couldn't, you know, I was happier giving than receiving.
Yeah.
And what we suggest there is that you keep doing this through your life until it becomes equal. Giving and receiving becomes one. Because there's a lot of us that want to just give all the time, because to receive is vulnerable.
Well, even to share at that level feels quite vulnerable, right? To say, okay, now we're going to have this little share. How was that for you genuinely?
Yeah.
And be able to say, actually, I felt really annoyed. That's quite intimate, really. So it's that part of it that you're letting yourself be seen, not who you think you should be, not what you think you should say. Oh yeah, I loved every minute of rubbing your back and toes. It's like, no, actually, I was really bored.
Yeah. I mean, the true relationships lie in presence.
But in a loving way, in a tender way that is safe to say that. Not that you are boring.
No.
I'm noticing for myself, this is what was coming up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a tender place. I mean, that is a place where a lot of couples might upset each other, have sparks, have fights. So it's learning how to express in a safe, intimate way, right? Like there's something about intimacy of communication there that's very interesting to me.
What you have to, if you have a knee-jerk reaction, we've spoken about this before, haven't we? If you have a knee-jerk reaction, you know, someone says something and you have a knee-jerk reaction, that is a trauma response. That is nothing to do with them. It's to do with you. So the first thing is notice that, try not to have a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
Notice it and just feel that within yourself, because it's actually nothing to do with them, it's to do with you. So if you can remember that, you know, and it's a difficult thing to remember when you want to smack someone round the head for being such an arsehole. It's a difficult thing to remember, but if you can remember that actually they're the mirror, you know. And I just want to say also for the people that are on their own, you know, we've got the food, we've got the blindfold and you're feeling and tasting. And then you can just actually move into really caressing yourself. And one of the, and again, this is where the demons can pop up. One of the things that we do, which is really beautiful, is just to explore your body as though for the very first time. So imagining that you've suddenly arrived in this body, and without judgment, you're just actually exploring slowly. You know, you're tasting, you're smelling, you're touching your hair, you're touching the whole of your body, genitals, everything. You're not turning yourself on, or you might be, of course, but actually just exploring your body. And some of the things that one of the things we say is, I love you. This comes from Matt Kahn. I don't know if people know Matt Kahn, but I love you, you know, and maybe the demons say, no, you don't love yourself. You're absolute rubbish, you know. It doesn't matter. Keep walking through, you know, I love you. Because this body is your, you know, who says this? Clarissa in Kola says, this body is your royal consort. This body is with you your whole life. So just, I love you. You know, your little feet have walked miles with you. You know, they've walked you. Your arms have held so much. You know, I love you. You know, none of that nonsense that you're too fat, you're too thin. None of that. I love you. You're beautiful. So that's for the people on their own.
I love that, Hilly.
Yeah.
This is a really tender part of it. You know, this feels like very nucleus-like, where these two lovers, or you're on your own and you're in this very place where everything's okay, and it's very tender.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I guess with the touching, you know, in the couples, I love you. You know. Yeah.
A lot of acceptance.
Yes, and that's where all the, you know, our day-to-day nonsense can heal. So it's a space where that healing can happen.
So yeah, it's an opportunity. This time it's an opportunity.
I was interested in what you were saying there, Hilly. It's like the trauma response is not to do anything. It's like just by dropping into it, that heals it, the being with the feeling and holding it. I mean, isn't that something I heard the other day? It's like any feeling is only really like 90 seconds if you actually allow it expression, if you feel it. But it's when we block it that it can stay there for years and get stuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's considered a trauma response, you know, and if you, I'm sure were we talking about this the other day? I was talking about it with somebody. And if we imagine the state of the world, everyone's in trauma. They're all having knee-jerk reactions all over the bloody place. You know, time to clear up here.
Yeah, being comfortable with the uncomfortable feeling, but not taking that uncomfortable feeling, giving it a meaning, and then taking action like this.
Yeah, just
from a sort of triggered place. But I mean, these triggers are going to come up, aren't they? So
absolutely.
This is a massive part of it. I mean, if you've got somebody naked lying on a bed in this place, but they've got these voices or these demons, as you say,
yeah.
part of it is triggers and stories. So is that what Tantra does? Helps you deepen and deepen and deepen, so that those thoughts and little stories, chatter, have less hold on your consciousness? Is that what it's about?
Yeah, that's the transformation, because basically, you know, we've got lots of damage, we've got lots of, we call it armoring, you know, we've got lots of things that's happened to us where we've hardened in our energy or in our bodies, we've hardened. And Tantra sort of comes along and actually works on all that stuff. It's a deeply transformational path, you know. It works on everything. You can't hide. There's no hiding. So, you know, it just melts, because a lot of our energy is held in this contraction, a lot of it, you know, and it's almost like, well, it is like we're very powerful beings, but we've been suppressed. We're so suppressed, you know. And Tantra, they always say that Tantra is the last thing to do, because it is so ruthless. It's called the royal path, and it'll come in and it'll just burn away. It's fire. It'll burn away everything that gets in the way of your expansion.
I love it. Right, all right. I'm in. What's next then?
I'll hold you to that one.
You've been working on me a few years now. I think it's probably time.
We'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's a big subject. You know, it's big. I mean, you know, and you never get rid of these voices, but we do work with them. Like mine is always, when I'm, my thing was, I always didn't know what to do. You know, I don't know what to do. Don't know what to do. I mean, I haven't had it for a while now, but when I'm really down, there's that, what, you don't know what you're doing, do you? You don't know what you're doing. And I remember that from playground, you know, and that voice will never, you know, and I know where that voice comes from. It comes from, I don't mean a person, but it comes from trying to look after myself. You know, it's a voice that's tried to serve me, which came from somewhere. I don't need to know where, but that voice tried to serve me. So you look after me. So I can say to that voice, you know, if I hear it, it's okay. I got this. I got this. You know, but it will always be there. And I think our demons are always there because they're part of our makeup. But they don't have to hold us. You know, we've got it. We've got it. It's got to be
we bring them out. We bring them out into the light, don't we? I mean, that's a lot of what our programs are about, is to bring them out into the light. And eventually, somewhere around about level 5 or 6, people start to learn to play with them, learn to love them, and to kind of roll around in the mud with them, you know. And yeah, absolutely. But then, you know, little by little, or in big steps, leaps and bounds, at times they soften and they loosen their grip, and they're not running us.
That's right. That's right.
You know, you always talk about that thing, don't you, Hilly, that you know, we won't sort out the terrorism in the world until we sort it out inside ourselves.
Yeah, because we terrorize ourselves, don't we? So we are that, you know, we are that. So let's stop terrorizing ourselves. But you can play with the demons, like, you know, you can play with it in a way that I could go, oh, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean?
Hilly.
What? And then she'll play with me. No, you don't know what you're doing. Oh my God. Do you know what I mean? You can play with that demon. You can make it bigger until you laugh. And once you can laugh, it's got no hold on you.
Yeah.
It's a ruthless path.
It's really telling me I'm old and ugly and I shouldn't be here. I should be in an old people's home with a crochet blanket on me. Sounds appealing, actually.
No, don't even joke about that, Hilly.
I can joke about it all.
You're my inspiration. You're my guiding star. You're not allowed to go and start crocheting. Not that there's anything wrong with crochet, but I don't really see you in that anytime soon. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Crochet.
So we're in this deep, tender space now. Things are bubbling up. Things are coming to the surface. Things are being held in love that may not be particularly comfortable. We are dropping inwards closer to our truth and our true selves. So there's this sweet space, might be a bit uncomfortable, but it's new, right? And it's lovely for the spirit and the body. And now what's next?
Well, you need to bear in mind that not everybody will. Some people, this will just be really simple and really lovely, you know. So if, I don't know, Becky, what would you say for the people that having difficulty, or maybe not having difficulty? So we're lying on a bed, you've got the single person or the individual person loving their body, the demons telling them the body's rubbish, but they're walking through that one. I love you, I love you. The couples are lying there with hands on heart, talking in a very tender place. I mean, I would say I'm asking you, Becky, but now from that point, it could move into lovemaking. It could move into a cup of tea. It could move into a cup of tea and a cigarette. It could move into, what could it move? You know, it could actually say, okay, you know, if you want to make, I mean, I'd be asleep there. You could be making love there. You could have reached a point where actually it's quite uncomfortable, so you perhaps need to move away from that space and go and talk about that elsewhere. Or you just need to cuddle up and be together. You know, so how to finish this? There's many ways to finish it, because I don't know where people would be at, but you've walked through this door, and what would you say there?
Yeah, I would say you might, you know, in terms of the ritual that we want to offer, I would say at this point of sharing together how it has been for you, not without, you know, throwing the judgment onto the other as best you can, but speaking about your own experience, and or if you're by yourself, maybe journaling about that experience.
Or even, you know, if you're with yourself, then you can self-pleasure maybe, or pleasure yourself, whatever.
What I was going to say is that you let that ritual come to an end, but then see how you feel. What do you want to do now? You know, which might be absolutely making love. It might be self-pleasuring. It might be the cup of tea, you know,
glass of wine, glass of bubbly.
Yeah, because it's quite good not to drink before.
So that's the kind of completion of the ritual for Valentine's, or for any time you want to create this sacred space with your partner,
yeah,
or yourself.
Yeah, the thing is, Kat, it's not prescriptive. So what we've done is we've walked through the Tantra door. We've made the effort to actually put everything to one side, move in, you know, keep putting the demons to one side, and then it's following the energy. Tantra is always about following the energy. So how, you know, it's not prescriptive. What is wanted now? Yeah. What is needed now? Is it needed that we want to make love, want to cuddle, or we want to journal, or we want to go and have some food and some bubbly, or, you know, because you've walked through that. Yeah,
you'll be in a different space. You'll be in a different space, and I think, and I think that's so often, you know, with couples, it's like, and there's so much pressure around Valentine's. Actually,
I don't know why.
You know, I said this in a message to you, didn't I? That, you know, my husband and I don't often do Valentine's because he works in the hospitality industry for years, and it was full. Valentine's night was horrendous.
It's horrible.
Absolutely horrible. There's restaurants full of couples staring at each other, not saying anything. There's no atmosphere because there's no interaction happening. There's no excitement at people meeting.
It's such a box tick, like formulaic.
Exactly.
I mean, it's my birthday, right? Valentine's Day. So
Happy birthday, Hilly. Of course it's your birthday
you.
on Valentine's Day. Of course that was what the universe ordained, that you should be born on St. Valentine's Day.
But when I was a kid, right, Valentine's Day was St. Valentine's would come and leave some sweets on the doorstep for the children. That's what St. Valentine did. And of course, it's been commercialized and taken and done what always happens. But actually, you know, when I was a kid, it was my birthday anyway, but you'd always go to the front door and there'd be some sweets that St. Valentine had left for you. And that was it, you know, and that was it.
Oh, my daughter would love that.
Yeah, it's
Sweets
just
on the doorstep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, you could eat sweets. It wasn't all this nonsense around.
Yeah.
So yeah, just some sweets from St. Valentine.
And talking to kids, you were saying to me, I was saying, well, what if someone's, you know, finding it hard to carve the time out? If there's children around or teenagers around, they don't really want to think about mum and dad with their SHADA album on.
No.
We did.
I would have a meal. Yeah, blindfold, eating with the hands. What were you saying, Becky?
Yeah, I was.
Can I carry on or not?
I was going to say, yeah. You just.
I would have creative. They could have a dance. I mean, I don't. You know, there's all sorts of stuff going on with teenagers and children and parents. But if you could get it together, there could be. You could create a meal. You know, do some dancing, create a lovely meal. Blindfold all of you, and eat it with your hands and just feed each other. Do you remember just doing that?
Yeah, we did
We told baby Manchester. Go on.
So kind of bringing the sensory back for these kids. Turn the tablets off, turn the tellies off, give yourself an hour for this. That you don't call it a tantric evening, because in our heads we always think sex, but what I'm hearing is it's way more about accessing the body and your wisdom and the sensory. And it's not about sex, but it's with the kids there and stuff, it's about getting them in their senses.
Get them in the body. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids can do, you know, you can do swaps of foot massages and things, and I think
my kids love a foot massage.
It's absolutely awesome for. Well, it's good for all of us, and I think it's particularly good for children, is where they have the opportunity to learn to say how they want to be touched. So if you are giving, you know, if you are massaging, say, your child's foot, that they get to say, I like it like that, or I don't like it like that, and that you give them that learning right at the, you know, right at a young age is I'd say vital.
It's really vital that we get into the body and help our children get into the body, because that, you know, otherwise just in their mind, you know, get into the body. Everything's in the body. The wisdom's in the body.
Yeah. Well, that might be a good place to leave it for our first on-ramp. Introduction to Tantra, Invitation to Pleasure. That is one of the signature courses available at Shakti Tantra, which you can find online. Hilly, is there anything, final words of wisdom, or how people can learn more about you and your work and things like that? Oh, I think we might have
yeah, I think just you know, go on the website, have a little. We've got a lot of introductory evenings going on. We've got couples and women's, and have we got women's? We're going to be. We're actually in the middle of a women's one at the moment. Couples and mixed on at the moment, or we're just going to bring that in. And that's a really great way. The evenings are 3 hours. You can have your cameras on or off, and we just lead you through it. So it's a little bit. You're going in a little bit deeper, give you structures to do, and it's just a nice way to meet us. And it's a really, it's an amazing path. It's not an easy path, that's for sure, but it's very profound. It's incredibly profound, and you know, we've all got to do something at this time. We've all got to help. Really, we've got to keep that, and we've got to move from that fear into the love. We've got to. I think that's the only. I think that's the only chance we've got, actually, of moving through this nonsense.
Yeah, and the good news is we can all do that, right?
We can do it.
What we need. We have our bodies, and our most of us have got the blessing of like a home, a roof over our head. We actually have what we need to go and do this deep inner work and conscious and settle into these places that maybe before we were too busy or kind of thought I'll get round to that one day, or we can actually devote time to ourselves now, can't we?
Well, we can, and we're you know, we are waking up. We're waking up to stuff that we never even thought of, really. I never thought of all sorts of things that I'm thinking about now. You know, awakening, I suppose lots of us have. You know, and that's great. That's as it should be. That's as it should be. You know, so yes, we can do this. We were born for these times, as they say. We can do this. We can walk through with it.
Thanks, Hilly.
Thank you.
Becky, what final words of wisdom would you like to share, and how can we find more about you and what's coming up?
Yeah, I'm going to be, as Hilly said, on the Chapter Tantra website, we've got some couples and some mixed. So when we say mixed, that's for men, women, whatever gender you want to call yourself, everybody's in the pot together. We've got some intro evenings, and we're going to be running a mixed training, which is an 8-week course. And then on via my Conscious Bliss brand, I do work more individually, either individually with men and with women, or with couples over Zoom, and when I can, and we're allowed to, again, I'll be back doing in-person retreats with people. So that's kind of really deep diving. For some people, they don't want to work in a group, they want to do the more one-to-one specific work. Yeah, you know, and I just think that the what I know for myself, and what I see with people that come on our courses and come and work with me, is it's one thing to talk about these things and to talk about the structure that we've given, the ritual that we've given for Valentine's, you know, and have a marvelous time, everybody that does it. And also it can be quite hard to hold a lot of stuff. I mean, we've talked about the demons, but a lot of stuff can come up along the way. And if you like, that's the courses and the private work that we offer, is to help people, is to guide them on that process and to hold them and support them.
Really important. Yeah, really lovely. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed today. I hope you watching live with us now, Adrian, Becky and Lena, Gail had to shoot off. Those of you watching on the recording, I hope that this was an enjoyable use of your time today. I certainly found it super enriching, and there were times where I was really experiencing it, not just thinking about it and talking about it, but really feeling it. So thank you, Hilly and Becky, for bringing your magic to the Eden Room. It's been absolutely joyful, and as always, and I look forward to hearing from our members and our community how they're finding it. And if you've got questions, if you're curious, if you want to know more, don't hesitate to just drop us a message, hello@theedenroom.com, and we can get you more information from Hilly and Becky if you need next steps. So thanks, ladies. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Hilly. Happy birthday. Hope it's an amazing next trip round the sun. Thank you for doing what you do and having done it for 3 decades plus, bringing that gift to the world. As you say, it's not an easy path, but it is one that I really value and appreciate. And I think more and more people are waking up to how precious these things in life are and how important they are. And it goes way beyond some of the ambition of the world, but I think there's a lot of people redefining what success really means. And I feel that you really emanate that. So thank you for sharing it with us, Becky. Thank you so much. All your amazing work. We've got some fantastic videos from Becky coming into the Eden Room Library this week. So you can continue this journey with intimacy and not just on, I always say a witch is for a witch is for life, not just for Halloween. And it's like Tantra is for life, not just for Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
All right, much love everyone. Thanks so much. See you again soon.
Thanks.